Welcome to the From Death to Life podcast. This is Carrie. I'm here with my wonderful husband, Mario, and we are so glad you're with us. We're going to be talking today about what to say to somebody who you believe might be suicidal. Last week, we talked about observing signs and clues in people's lives around us that might be of concern, might be a risk factor for someone who is suicidal. And today we're going to talk about how to enter that conversation and what to say.
Right on.
How are you doing, Mario?
Doing great. You?
I'm doing well. So
Excellent.
let's start with my favorite quote for the show is, "Here's the world. Beautiful and terrible things will happen. Do not be afraid." So we're going to start out with our beautiful thing for the week. What was your beautiful
How about you go first this time?
Okay. My beautiful thing. This can be hard. Here we go. So if this is your first time listening, I will have to catch up a little bit. We lost our daughter, Reese, our 17-year-old daughter, Reese, in January. And
It's an pneumonia and respiratory issues.
yes, respiratory complications. And it has been a very difficult year, to put it lightly. So we are in the throes of grief still. But I will say a beautiful thing happened this last week.
I think you're going to take mine. Is that cool?
We have the same one? That's perfect.
Yeah.
Reese was awarded the Youth Honoree of the Year by the Epilepsy Foundation of Arizona for the youth who impacted the community for good. And it meant so much to me because Reese did that, and it was all about her, and it was about her beauty, her joy, her impact for good. And I loved it because it was just such a joy, because I felt like, and for any parent who has a child with special needs, we spend so much of our lives advocating for them. And we spend our lives trying to convince people that they deserve dignity, respect, the same kind of treatment, a place at the table. And I spent so much of my life trying to get people to see her goodness, her beauty, and her special thing. She had this special thing that was only hers. And so much of my life was begging people to see it. And when they told us they'd chosen her for this award, it felt like somebody saying, "We saw that. We saw her special thing. We saw the goodness she brought to the world." And it wasn't something I had to do. It wasn't something I was yelling from the rooftops. It was about her, and it was her thing. And it was so beautiful, and I'm so thankful.
Yeah. I mean, that's my that is definitely my beautiful thing that happened. It was a profound event that we went to, and Reese was honored for. I mean, they had a few hundred people that were there, some of her doctors that we didn't know were going to be there were there. But I also, we're going to talk about the terrible thing. And it's not,
Share your terrible thing.
yeah, it's not necessarily terrible, but it kind of goes along.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's the fact that we were there, and we were the family that got up to share about the loss of our daughter. And that was heavy. I mean, when everybody, when the event was over and everybody was leaving with their auction items and, getting in their cars and leaving, our reality is that she's still not here. And that's very, very heavy. It was a beautiful thing, but there was also a reality check that she's not with us. And so that sucks. And that was very heavy. So that's mine. You?
Mine is really similar. I think it was the beautiful thing, and it was also the terrible thing. And I think we came home from that event and we saw her first neurologist there, and we saw her last neurologist there, and it brought up a lot. It brought up so many emotions, and I've kind of felt like I've been drowning in a wave of grief since that event.
Yeah, we were awfully
Felt
quiet.
like
Yeah, we were awfully quiet for a little bit after the event. It was just kind of, I mean, and those kind of things are very heavy. And when I say heavy, um, they drain you. They drain you emotionally, spiritually, physically. We came back from that and we just crashed.
And I think what I want to say about that is like I felt this huge wave of grief crash over me because it brought up all those emotions that we're describing, that I hate being the family that lost a child. Like I hate that. I
Yeah.
hate that reality. I hate that she's gone. I hate how much I miss her every day. Um, it brought up a lot of feelings, but like what I'm learning is the waves crash over us, and like we just have to like go with it. I can't bypass it. I can't fix it. I have to just let it do its work and just cry and rest and take care of myself and take care of you guys, and just let the sadness come. And that's just part of grief. Like it comes and then it's like, okay, I know now that the acute pain won't last forever, and we just have to ride out the wave. And so now I understand what that wave of grief means when I hear that term. But so anyway, that was the terrible thing.
Yep. Me too.
Well, we're in it together.
Yep.
And if you're grieving a loss, we're
You
here
get it.
for you. We know
Get
how
it.
that feels, and you're not alone.
All right, let's jump into the topic.
So, our topic today is what to say to somebody who you're concerned about. You're concerned about their mental health. You're concerned they might be suicidal. If you didn't listen to the episode last week, listen to it. We talked about the signs and the clues that may be a concern in the people around you. And we want everyone to hear this, that if you're concerned about someone, ask them a question. Ask them. And we're going to talk about an indirect approach and a direct approach. But let me give you some tips before we get into the specific questions. If you're in doubt, if you're concerned about them, do not wait. Ask the question. And when I say the question, it's the suicide question. Mari laughs when I say the S word because there's lots of S words, but this one is the suicide word. So many people are afraid of that word, but we're going to hopefully convince you that asking that question actually saves lives.
And it doesn't. I mean, there's a lie going around that the more you talk about it, the more people do it, and that is a lie. I mean, that is so untrue.
The more you talk about it, the less people do it.
You bring it out to the light.
Bring it into the light. If the person is reluctant, then be persistent. So, for example, if you ask someone, I'm worried about you. Are you thinking about suicide? And they say, well, maybe, like, doesn't everybody? Or they say, why would you ask me that? Like they're getting angry with you.
Yeah.
I want you to notice that neither one of those answers is a no. So
no, and not everybody. I mean, the glaring, the lights going off is no, not everybody does think about suicide or ending their life. So that is no, that's not normal, and that should be a warning sign for sure.
So those are examples that you need to be more persistent, ask more questions, get more information, not told you no. So the other thing is privacy. Privacy is a rare commodity these days. So getting someone into a private setting is critical because people aren't going to divulge their suicidal thoughts and feelings and plans if you're not in a private setting. Definitely do not ask them this question in front of a group or even in front of another person. Privacy is of the highest importance, but also don't make it feel punitive. Like, I'd like you to come into my office, like you're in trouble kind of thing. So find a private setting without feeling punitive. Allow the person to talk freely. This is like a passion of mine, that we allow people to talk freely without interrupting and without fixing. We need to practice feeling with people, weeping with those who weep. If you're not a crier, that's okay, but let people speak freely. Active listening is a skill. If you are not a good listener, you can learn this skill.
Yeah, you got to practice it.
Everybody can learn to be a listener, but so few people are good at it. So few people know how to let people talk freely without interrupting and without fixing. So if you struggle with it, practice, practice, practice. Like, look up, you can find things on YouTube about learning to be an active listener, learning how to listen. There are books written about it. It's such a beautiful gift that you can give to people. Give yourself plenty of time. Very few people have extra time. You're going to have to carve out time to give to people so that you're not in a rush. It doesn't feel good when somebody's bearing their heart and you're looking at your watch.
Well, if your game plan, if you're planning, okay, I'm having coffee with my friend who I believe is really struggling with their mental health and possibly suicidal, you got to have a game plan. You just can't just freely and that's obviously that's why you're listening to this podcast right now, because we're going to help you put a game plan together. But you need to be prepared to say the right things and be prepared to not say the wrong things. So, that's why we're so grateful that you're listening today. What are some other things that you should be saying?
Thing would be to have some resources handy. So, our website is one, our text code is one. So deaf2life.com is our website where people can chat online.
And you get stickers and get communication stuff from us.
Yeah, text D2L at 91627. Have phone numbers of people you trust available. If there's a pastor you trust, a counselor's name, and any other information that might help.
Right.
So kind of go into it with some resources ready so that if they do need to refer them for help, you're prepared. So I want to talk about asking the tough question. People are afraid of this.
The S
question. And I acknowledge that there is anxiety about asking this. And there's a couple of reasons why, because we want them to say, no, I'm not thinking of that. And so it's scary to ask because we're afraid of their answer. And I just want to acknowledge that is scary. But
and we're being kind of like tongue in cheek with the S word, because that's what our society, don't ask the S word. And we don't have a problem saying suicide. We don't have a problem with mentioning, are you suicidal? Yeah.
Right. But so I want to start with the less direct approach. So these would be easy ways to ask that question. If you're scared to, my favorite way to ask would be just like, I've noticed that you are struggling. You seem very sad. Are you thinking about suicide? So I don't have a problem asking that, but I've asked that a lot. So if you're like, I could never ask that. Okay, let's do some easy entry questions. So for example, have you been unhappy lately? It's an easy way to enter. Like, have you been unhappy lately? Have you been very unhappy lately? And you can tell them some things you've noticed. Maybe you've noticed that they, tell them what you've noticed.
I've noticed you've been carrying a lot lately.
Yeah. Or I know you've lost somebody, or I know that you've gone through a breakup. Have you been very unhappy lately? Have you been so very unhappy lately that you've been thinking of ending your life? And then, do you ever wish you could go to sleep and never wake up?
Mm.
We talk about that as kind of an entry point on the spectrum of suicidal thoughts. If somebody is wishing that they don't wake up in the morning, that's a sign something's not right.
That's not okay.
And
I mean, it's common, but it's not okay.
yeah, it's a sign of,
And you and I have shared that we've experienced that.
yeah,
I mean, I mean, when you go through a real heavy time, real difficult time in life, especially losing a child or whatever it is, um, you can have those thoughts.
understand. For a parent who's lost a child to have a thought, I would love to go to sleep and not wake up. I think people would probably understand that. But it is an indication that, like for me, it's an indication I need support. I need to talk to somebody about this. I'm in a dark place. And, I've learned to recognize like I'm in a dark place. I'm low, feeling really low. And to bring it into the light and talk to someone about it. So, that's a way you could ask, do you ever wish that you could go to sleep and never wake up? So those would be some easy entry questions. So if you are feeling confident, now I would always recommend a more direct approach if you can, but no shame if you can't. If you can't, no shame. But if you are a direct type, this would be a more direct question. For example, when people are as upset as you seem to be, they sometimes wish they were dead. I'm wondering if you're feeling that way too. Or you could say, when people go through a breakup like you've been through, they sometimes wish they were dead. I'm wondering if you're feeling that way too. Or another one would be, you look pretty miserable. I wonder if you're thinking about suicide. Or are you thinking about killing yourself? That's very direct. But you might think that that's such a scary question, but if that person is in fact thinking or planning suicide, you have offered them a relief where they can actually talk about what's going on internally without
1 o'clock.
Oh, it's 1 o'clock.
Yep.
Without having to bring it up. And there's a lot of fear in bringing that up because of how you might react. But when you ask, you relieve that person of the stress of bringing up that conversation. So what do you think? Anything you want to add there?
No, it's all good stuff.
So I do want to just add my favorite quote for the day. Is there anything you want to add before we wrap up this episode?
No, that's all. Well, I mean, that's application stuff that we can use, especially for those that are hurting.
Yeah. And I would always encourage, just talking to God about what you're going to say, talking to God throughout the conversation, and paying attention to the verbal and nonverbal clues of the person you're talking to. And just know that if you are willing to enter into this conversation, you are such a unique and special person.
You're awesome.
You're a rock star. And that brings me to our quote of the week, which is Henry Nouwen, who said, "Anyone who willingly enters into the pain of a stranger is truly a remarkable." So go be a remarkable person this week. And we love you.
We love you. And if you are struggling with your mental health or you prefer death to life, reach out to us at deathlife.com. Text us at 916-D2L at 91627, and we are available to chat 24/7 all around the world.
The world too heavy to hold, a heart